used to catch a lot of backlash, from our own community to be like, oh, they don't represent us well and all this other kind of stuff, right? So I remember when I was first, approached about joining the cast, and I was talking to a couple people about it, and they were like, oh, you don't need to do that show. That's not a good representation of Black women and all this other kind of stuff. And I was like, okay, well, if you think that they didn't represent Black women well, but you think that I would, why don't you want me to be on there? Because my thing is, it's like, obviously, if this is what you're saying doesn't represent us, then shouldn't we do our best to have other people who you feel like represent you a part of this platform?
Sure.
And so it just made me be like, you know what? I'm doing it.
That's great.
I was just like, I'm doing it. And then I'm not going to allow anybody to make me feel like I have to uphold the standard for the whole community. Because I can only be me. I can only be who I am. And hopefully, that works for you. But if it doesn't, I'm not going to just, hold that on my shoulders.
Yes. And people love to judge, and it's kind of like, this is the same stuff that goes on in everyday situations, except there just happens to be a camera with it.
Right.
Nothing that we're doing on these shows that are like, oh my God, they're doing something so different, so alien. We're literally are put into situations, okay, that's fine and fair, but we're going to react the way we would naturally for the most part. I think people to act like, oh, that's not a representation. I'm like, you had a fight with your girlfriends and then you made up. You've yelled, like, it's literally reality, except that we just happen to have a microscope, few of them in our faces.
Yeah. And realistically, I hate when people, necessarily talk about stereotypes, right? Because I was like, people can say what they want to about, quote unquote, the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Because at the beginning, I always felt like all of the shows kind of became a stereotype of whatever their orientation was. So meaning, you have the Housewives of the OC. They are exactly what you think women from Orange County would be like. You get what I'm saying? Or, when New Jersey first started, the Housewives of New Jersey, a lot of the women, were Italian, you flipping tables, hot-headed. It was the stereotype of what you say that's supposed to be. So why, when we go back and forth, throw shade, do this and all of that, why are they coming at us so hard? It's like, really, realistically, if you look at all of the different shows, they give you a little bit of a stereotype, and I think it's just because, like you said, you have these cameras around us all the time, but they're only showing you the part that they feel is going to be good TV.
Right.
So, like,
but that's how people relate to you. I think that most people actually can relate to your show or my show, whatever, because it's kind of like, this is the environment that we're in. These are the type of people we hang out with, because that's what makes a community, right? So you're just representing a little piece of it, and everyone will react differently or the same or whichever way, but it's for no one to judge. It's just a different experience and a different, we just have to learn how to be more accepting of each other in the sense, because we're only here to, like, we're literally are like, we're the guinea pigs in the sense, like, we get thrown in the screen and like, okay, you guys are going to be representing this and you're going to be this 5 women or 6 women, and it's a very high standard, and we just hope that we represent our families first well, ourselves well, and then the community, and whatever comes out of that is what it is. So some people had fights, like physical fights. I don't believe in them, but the fact is that they've recovered from it. They were able to hopefully learn from it, have a conversation, with and then move forward. It's all about, this show's about growth for me. I joined this show to, number one, hope that I can inspire and also grow for myself, so.
And it's not just Black women who have had physical fights on TV, so I don't like that. People seem like, oh, we the only ones that have had certain situations like that happen. That's happened on all races and all different types of TV shows, so, like.
I am so thrilled that you all were so open with that question, because I went off script, because it's a concept that I feel like, we just always overlook talking about us being a monolith on TV, or us representing ourselves in a certain way, and that being seen as the pinnacle, to other communities. It's like, oh, well, that's how they act. So I'm so glad that each one of you took the time to give us those thorough answers and just be open and honest about the pressures that you have faced or maybe not have faced, or how you're tackling those stereotypes on behalf of our community. Are there any other Black businesses? Because I want to make sure that we highlight them all here. I know that you all are constantly, not only Bravo celebrities, but you're influencers as well. So you know of all the poppin' Black businesses and business owners and things like that. Do you want to show anyone some love at this moment before we wrap up?
Oh, I know a lot.
I'm going to plug my co-star, Maya Allen. She's got the Need blog. It's a cookie company that she started during the pandemic. And honestly, it's like, if you have like a sweet tooth, get them. Homemade cookies, they're the best. I've like helped her package some of them and ate them also. But like go to theneedblog.com. She sells many different varieties. My favorite's the snickerdoodle and the oatmeal raisin.
And don't ask for a discount.
No.
Support, exactly. Yeah. Mine will be Indigo, Ndigo, Indigo. Two Haitian designers. These two ladies are so incredible. Gabrielle Union wore their outfits. They were on just like that. The wedding, that yellow dress, that was Indigo. So and I featured them also on a fashion show for my charity event on the show at the Real Housewives of Miami on Peacock. And so they're incredible, and they're just 2 years old as a company, and they're gonna grow. They're gonna go to the moon. Yeah.
And Kandi, I know you have a list.
Yeah, I'm like, I wish you would have told me so I could have wrote them down before we started. Because I'm like, I know tons of people with Black-owned businesses here.
What we could do is promise the viewers in the next 24 hours, maybe on your story, you kind of do a list. That's up to you if you'd like to. Or just
every day for the past month, I've been posting different businesses. Okay, I'll shout out this one little young man. This one young man, I won't say little. He's 14 years old. He has started this business, and I actually hired his company to do my son's party for his birthday, which it was like a Nerf gun wars, but he calls his company as Dart Wars to You. And so he has an actual company that they bring the party to the kids with all the, Nerf toys, and they have actual games set up for them to play. They bring the barricades and all this stuff. And it's a whole planned out event, where they have multiple things back when they bring the safety gear and all that stuff. And I didn't even know that a 14-year-old young Black man, owned this business. I just, Googled like, who does this? And I found him. And I was so impressed by the way he put his business together.
Wow. 14 years old.
Yes.
Because he was never told that he couldn't because of the color of his skin.
Yeah. And then he was thinking outside of the box as well. That's the one thing. There's a need for plenty of stuff. Like our everyday thing that we're doing every day is something that we do every day that there's a need for, that we don't realize that, people will pay for this service. And I guess at that young age, he recognized that somebody would pay for the service, and he made it, and it's doing great for him. But I mean, honestly, I'm like, My Fair Sweets, shout out to them. That's a friend of mine. Well, we became friends because I've hired her multiple times to do all kind of cakes and desserts and sweets. My friend Gaucher Breakfast Bar, she has an amazing breakfast bar here in Atlanta. It's just, I could keep going.
Yeah, you got Well, all the viewers are saying, yeah, she's been posting all month long on her page. So be sure to go to Kandi's page. Also, it looks like in the comments, people are dropping their Black-owned businesses as well. So if you want to support, make sure you're screenshotting the comment section as well, guys. And I'll leave us on this quick question for each of you. What's your challenge to our Bravo fans who are watching right now, who want to continue that conversation with their families on uplifting each other during Black History Month, being Black Past Month, Black Future Month, Black Present Month, being Black History? What's your challenge to those of us who are watching this live right now?
Well, I said this to people when all the stuff that was going on in the world during the pandemic or whatever, but I will say this again because I noticed that it has helped some of the businesses that I've been a part of and people that I've worked with. But if you own a business, or if you work for a company where you notice that there's not much diversity in their power positions, meaning positions of hiring, positions of leadership, then you should have a conversation with somebody higher up to say, hey, is there a way that you could look to hire more people in power positions? Because the thing is, I feel like, you know, you always, especially now, I think there's a lot of people out there who want to be allies to the Black community, right? But they always say, well, how can I be of help, or how can I be of service? Well, it's like, okay, well, if you just look around, and if you look in your boardroom or the people that are hiring for you, and you never see anybody Black in there, then that's part of the reason why the diversity does not trickle down.
Yeah, I think my challenge would be to continue the conversation. And I'm honestly going to piggyback off of Kandi a little and say, continue the conversation. When you can count the diversity in the room, you have a problem. So, like, you shouldn't be able to count. They shouldn't be like, oh, we only have 3, we have 2. Like, I want to be able to count, the drops of people in the room. I want it to be, I want that success to trickle down. I honestly challenge my white friends to like keep having conversations and like keep talking about it and talk to your kids about it, because like, kids are the future, and like they're the people who are going to really have an impact on how we move further from, or how we move on from this, and how we keep going, and how we continue to diversify our spaces, and how we continue to keep these conversations alive, and really just talk about the accomplishments and incorporate Black history into American history properly and fully, So I challenge a lot of my white friends, and even my Black friends too. Like, it's also our jobs. Like, some days we might be tired and we don't want to answer a question, but like, I promise I'll always answer a question if you have it for me. If you're my friend and you're seeking understanding, I'll always answer that question. And I'll always.
You know what? I'm glad you said that, because I do get a lot of friends that be like, well, I'm tired, I shouldn't have to explain to them. Well, it's all about, we all need to educate ourselves and educate the people around us. If you don't share with your friend who isn't Black that certain things, man, we don't like that, or certain things, you can't just assume people know, right? You know what I mean? Everybody isn't always purposely trying to offend. So if they do it now, maybe if they continue after you say, hey, man, like, don't say that, don't do that, whatever, or, I say educate your non-Black friends on how we like to be addressed, how we like to be, treated in situations or whatever. If you know something is not cool, then explain to them like why that's not cool. Because some people really, if you didn't grow up in the same area to have the same background, some people really don't understand where you're coming from. So don't be so offended like, I don't want to explain no more. No, it's cool. Because there's certain things that we may say that may not be cool to them, and I would appreciate them to just tell me, hey, Kandi, like, nah, that ain't.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
Right. Like, some people don't understand, like, microaggressions is real, and like they might not understand, the subtleties of the undertone and what they're saying and how they're forming their questions. But like, as long as we continue, like, I'm gonna break it down to you, and like, I just feel like, I see a lot of people who are like, it's not my job to educate. It's not our job to educate. And I feel like, there are some people, like, you do need to do your own education, but also, like, if we're a group and we're in a family, we're in a community, like, I am your sister, you are my brother, I will teach you as you teach me. So.
Yeah, and for me, I'm just gonna keep it short, but my challenge is trying to create a seminar, some kind of education process, so that I'm able to, I'm in my hotel room, I'm sorry. So that I'm able to, pass something forward. I feel like, what happened to me was special. You know, I came to this country, I didn't speak English and the whole thing. And I would love to show other people who feel like they can't, and show them the methods on how you can progress and create this amazing success story too. So yeah.
Each one of you have your own stories, and we thank you for sharing them with us. Seriously. Kandi, thank you
Yo,
for
she
sharing your
speak
journey and what
English
you're doing in Austin.
fluently,
Thank you, Gertie.
yo.
Gertie, I
She didn't
admire
know
your
jack.
ability to say, this is who I am, and I'm not shining my light for anyone. And Ciara, again, your wealth of knowledge just on being your authentic self and being open and innocent enough to say, listen, I don't have all the answers, but I'm willing to teach you what I know. And I'm willing to, be my authentic self with you. So thank you for just showing these layers in our Amplify Our Voices digital series presented by Bravo. Ladies, thank you. Viewers out there, thank you so much. This will actually be reposted on Bravo's page later on, and you can feel free to watch the whole thing, share it with your family and friends, comment. But thank you for taking the time out, to you three ladies, for joining us this evening and sharing your knowledge with us. We really appreciate it. I'm Francesca Amaker with E! News and Bravo, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.